All right. Bannock County Commissioners are back in session. We're here for a public hearing on zoning ordinance text, new section, and the future land use map. I would entertain a motion to enter into the public hearing portion of the meeting. Or do we do?
Open.
Yeah, so.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we go ahead and open the public hearing.
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have one person on the schedule who signed up to speak, but you would like to wait for a few minutes?
I want to hear what the discussion is first.
I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah,
So,
right now.
so Hal, go ahead and present, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. Commissioner Hal Jensen, Planning Director, Bannock County. You have before you a new ordinance that was mandated from the state legislature relative to agricultural protection area. The direction came from the legislature that this needed to be in place by the end of the year. However, the model ordinance was not published until December 1st. So at that point, we went ahead and took care of what we had already put together, wrote the ordinance, did not follow the model ordinance because we felt there were a number of items that we were in disagreement with relative to Bannock County, and changed some language and structured this. Then had work sessions and put it out for discussion relative to the council, the planning council, as well as the commission. You have before you new definitions that we will add to section 200 of the ordinance for those words, definitions, and terms. And then following is section 461, the agricultural protection area. This particular ordinance is to protect agriculture, but is strictly voluntary from a landowner standpoint. It is not mandatory in any way, shape, or form. It just needed to be in place as a tool for those people that would like to participate. If you have any other questions for me, I would be glad to entertain what I can.
The first question that I have is what is the benefit for placing any land in this agricultural protection area?
So, and my answer to that is strictly my opinion. I think this is a gut reaction to a perceived problem across the western United States. Other states have done this, and members of the legislature were pulled in by perhaps special interest about why we should be doing this, and so it moved forward. I don't know, I honestly can't say what is or isn't the benefit, other than this land stays with this designation for 20 years until they decide to re-up or remove it from the APA. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
This was passed by the legislation last year,
Correct.
but there's no rewards. There's no compensation. They're talking about compensations now and adding to this, but there's no compensations.
This is
So
just basically...
it just locks up the land as ag for 20 years.
Correct. Correct. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know what the benefit is at this point, other than this land stays locked for 20 years as ag. Parcels as small as 5 acres, all the way up to however large they choose to do it.
Okay.
Strictly voluntary.
Okay. So, all right, so does that end your report then? Any other quick questions for Hal?
The only thing that I could possibly see is if you've got a family that is arguing over the use of that ground, and the grandfather could literally just say, for the next 20 years, I'm locking this ground up so that my kids can't come in and subdivide it or do something with that ground that I don't want them to do. But there are other means of doing that. That's the only thing I could see why somebody would lock up a piece of ground for 20 years, is to prevent the owners, which could be family heirs, from doing something different. I mean, that's my I don't know how.
Perhaps a
There's
family.
no compensation, so it has to be other kind of, I understand part of it in Utah because they were doing it because of highways and everything, whatever their logic and reasoning is, but for our legislature, I think it's just a nebulous
Okay.
thing, but that's my opinion.
Do you have anything else before we go to the public comment?
You can just tell him what the rules are.
Okay. All right, Dennis, since you signed up to speak and you're the only one here, you got 3 minutes.
Well, and I don't know what they're really trying to do with this, but I helped write a agricultural protection in Utah, and my brother helped write one in Minnesota for farm ground. But I also know that a friend of mine in Wyoming, his grandfather tried to protect his property near Jackson Hole, and he basically got taxed out of existence. Well, both his grandfathers did. The other one was in Star Valley. And that was what the protection, I don't know if that's the way it's written or not, but I'm just saying you probably need to be aware of that it, because in Wyoming, they go back after, if you, let's say, somebody purchases a property and wants to develop it, there's got to be back taxes paid on that. Not back taxes paid back as development property instead of as agricultural property. And I don't know if that's what it's written as, because I haven't read it.
No,
There was nothing in there addressed towards that. Once it's stated as ag land, that's where it's at, so.
Yes.
Okay,
So I question why the state even proposed that, but I'd also suggest that I would hope that the state put together the best purpose of the law.
well, we're all.
That's all I'm saying.
We're all crossing our fingers on that one. All right, since there's no one else, I would move that we close the public comment section of the meeting.
I would make that motion that we close public comment and resume our meeting.
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Hal, you have anything else for us?
No, I just wanted to make one comment real quickly. Under Article, or Paragraph J, unless otherwise approved by the board, the following land uses are not allowed within an APA. Item 2, the siting of residential, commercial, manufacturing, industrial, solar energy, wind energy, or battery storage structures, etc. The reason that that's in there is so that it coincides with our current ordinance as we get ready to adopt a new comprehensive plan and then go into the rewrite of our ordinance. All of this then becomes subject to change. The other item, real quickly, is that the land use map, the future land use map, is being amended with an overlay zone. For all intents and purposes, the entire county is an overlay zone relative to the protection. That will then, as we get ready to move forward through this next year, this map will then become refined again, but it has to be an integral part of the adoption of this ordinance relative to our future land use map.
Just for my benefit, would you define the overlay on the map? What does that mean?
It just means that anybody that would qualify in the ordinance, they have ag land that's within the overlay, which is the entire county, then
Okay.
therefore they could come before the APA commission, and they could then go forward with taking care of that.
So we're not excluding any of the county
Nope.
from this action, I guess is another way of putting that.
That is correct, and as I said, we will then be refining. This was such a short time period with everything else that was going on. For all intents and purposes, this is a very general, broad ordinance as well as an overlay area.
Okay. Okay. So the question today is then, do we accept the ordinance as presented and the future land use map as presented?
I'd go ahead and make that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion. Is there any further discussion on those two items?
So just for the record, for that, this is your proposal, this is our best move forward then?
Yes, and it is to be compliant with state statute and deadlines.
Okay, that's all I want to hear.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes and is adopted. The ordinance is adopted and the future land use map is adopted.
And it will be publicized
I'll have an ordinance for signature Tuesday.
Okay. All right, with that, we will stand adjourned until, what time, 11?